Hello and welcome to this week's ARCA Menard Series Rewind Show. I'm Garth Allen. This is Racing News Now. And today we're talking about the best ARCA Pocono race in recent memory, the 2021 General Tire, hashtag anywhere as possible, 200. And if you are new around here, we are currently in our hashtag race to 1K. So if you would, consider going down below and hit that subscribe button. It's free to do. The quicker we get to 1,000 subscribers, the quicker YouTube will let us do mobile live streaming, which will greatly improve both the quality and quantity of coverage we're able to give you from the track. We will be back at Elko in a couple of weeks. So we'll be at Elko, and then we should be at every main ARCA race for the rest of the season, outside of maybe Watkins Glen. Not 100% sure on Watkins Glen yet, but other than that, should be at every main ARCA race for the rest of the year. So the quicker we get to 1,000 subscribers, the quicker you get more and better coverage from those races. And I got a lot of ideas for stuff I want to do for mobile live streams. So definitely hit that subscribe button if that is something you want to see. 80 laps around the tricky triangle in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. And I'm not kidding. This is the best ARCA Pocono race I can remember ever. I honestly can't remember the last ARCA Pocono race that was better than this. This race was fantastic. We had three really good competitive cars going for the win that would not let each other go at any point in this race. We had drama, we had excitement, we had racing all throughout the pack, not just with those three cars. It was incredible, and I'm here to tell you all about it. So, let's talk about this one. 5 caution flags for a total of 30 laps. So we had a lot of cautions in this one as well. Things got a little hairy at different points in this race. Nick Igdalski getting caught up in a couple of them, both at lap 8 and at lap number 26. That's the CEO of Pocono Raceway, by the way. Shout out to Nick Igdalski, not only to be running the entire track, but also to be running in the race himself. I believe he was in this race last year as well. Kudos to Nick Igdalski. That's really cool to not only run the track, but to be in the race as well. That's really cool. Brian Dowza also involved in that lap 26 incident. Debris on the track at lap 17 brought out the caution there. I don't believe it was the initial cause for the caution, but under this caution as well, Sam Mayer blew his engine, and that would end his not-so-triumphant return to the ARCA Menard Series, his first start of the season for Brett Holmes Racing. Don Thompson in the 06 stalled in turn 3 on lap 54. Lap 59, we had a bit of an interesting incident as the 21 of Jack Wood seems to have gotten turned by Ryan Huff. I'm not 100% sure. Fox's angle on this one was not very good. I think Jack Wood got hooked by Ryan Huff. I'm not really sure, though. They were 3 wide off of the tunnel turn, though, which is never a good situation to be in. And they were 4 wide going down the Long Pond straight into the tunnel turn. They got down to, I think, 2 wide, and then back to 3 wide exiting the corner. It was just, there were cars everywhere, not enough room for it. Jack Wood ends up getting turned into the 97 of Jason Kitzmiller, ending both of their days. Both of them had decent days going. Both actually led laps at different points in this race, mainly because they stayed out on different cautions, but still led laps in this race nonetheless. Speaking of lap leaders, let's look at those for today. Leading the most laps, not surprising, was Ty Gibbs. 33 laps led today. I think we're seeing a pattern here, and I think you know where this is going. If you didn't see this race, you think you know where this is going, with Ty Gibbs leading the most laps in this race. Chandler Smith also led a good number of laps today at 22 as well, and then Corey Heim also led 17 laps in this race. Then, of course, you see 5 for Jack Wood, 3 for Jason Kitzmiller. But before we get into the results, let's talk about those 3 that led double-digit laps today. Ty Gibbs, Chandler Smith, Corey Heim. Those 3 were so close today and made for such an exciting battle for the lead today. I didn't know it was possible to have this good of a race at Pocono. Those 3, every time we had a green flag run, you'd watch them come down the front stretch and they'd literally snake back and forth across the front stretch. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen at Pocono. I know a lot of the times you get drivers coming down to the bottom and then swinging back to the top to break the draft to try and keep that car behind them from catching up, but that's not what was happening here. They'd go to the bottom, they'd come back up, and it was literally like they were snaking down the front stretch. It was so cool, so fun to watch, and the fact that the three of them were basically glued to each other for almost the entire race until a late caution. I believe it was the last, yes, it was the last restart after the Kitzmiller and Jack Wood incident. Gibbs and Heim were the front row. Chandler Smith restarted third. The same thing as what happened on every restart up to that point happened. The driver starting in third, in this case Chandler Smith, got a big run on the restart, jumps to the inside. The driver in the lead, in this case Ty Gibbs, throws a block, throws it all the way down to the painted section at the inside of the front stretch down near pit wall. This happened every single restart. They'd block all the way down to the painted section down by the checkered flag down at the bottom of the front stretch. In this case, though, Chandler Smith had already gotten his fender to the left rear of Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs still throws the block. They make contact. Chandler almost loses it, drives back up into the field and saves it, doesn't get hit by anyone. The most incredible piece of driving I've seen in a long time. Not only to save it, but to not get hit by anyone. It was incredible that Chandler Smith saved that car and didn't collect anyone else. Now, the thing that happened here, though, is from this contact, Ty Gibbs got a tire rub on the left rear. There was smoke pouring out of the left rear. Eventually, it worked itself out. He never got a flat tire. But this whole incident lost Ty the lead. Corey Heim got out to the lead on this restart and drove away. Won this race by 3 seconds. Corey Heim breaks the streak that Ty Gibbs had of winning so many races this season. Ty has won 5 out of 7 races coming into this race, and Corey Heim has now won his 3rd race of the season. An incredible drive from Corey Heim, showing that he is not going to let this championship go without a fight, and he is just as capable of winning this championship as Ty Gibbs, as long as he's got the right car underneath him. And today, he had the right car underneath him. Because I know I saw some talk about, well, if the incident between Gibbs and Chandler Smith hadn't happened on that restart, Corey Heim was pretty well a 3rd place car in this race. And I don't think that's true, because all 3 of those cars were really even today, and really it was just a matter of how they lined out off of restarts, and then really there wasn't much passing between the 3 of them after that point. They just stayed glued to each other during the green flag runs when they snaked back and forth down the front stretch. So I don't think Corey was really a 3rd place car in this race. I think that's just where he ended up lining out most of the time after a restart, and he just kind of rode there. After watching practice earlier today, yes, Ty Gibbs led practice by 6/10 in the final charts. But one thing I noticed during practice was before they went out for their qualifying trim runs at the end of practice, which is what always happens. If you watch timing and scoring during practice, you'll see a lot of faster times get put up right within the last 5 to 10 minutes of practice. That's when they go out and practice their qualifying trim instead of the race trim that they've been doing for most of practice. So that's why times jump up a lot right at the very end of practice. In this case, before everybody started going out and doing their mock qualifying runs, Corey Heim was the fastest in practice before the mock qualifying runs happened and Ty Gibbs jumped back to the top of the board. So, after seeing that in practice, I had a feeling that this might not be another Ty Gibbs runaway that everybody seemed to think it was going to be, and it wasn't. Ty did lead a lot of laps in this race, but he didn't run away, and Chandler Smith and Corey Heim both led a lot of laps, and Ty Gibbs did not win this race. So, this championship, as I've been saying all year, is going to be a fun one to watch. Ty is not going to run away with this. I can almost guarantee you that at this point. With what we've seen so far this year, Corey Heim is going to put up a fight for this, and Corey Heim may very well win this championship. Things are going to have to go his way. He's probably going to have to win a couple of short tracks before the year's out, but Corey Heim can win this championship. This is not a lock for Ty Gibbs like everybody seems to think it is. Everybody's been saying that since before the season started, that Ty Gibbs was going to run away with this championship. And I've been here from the very beginning telling you that that's not what's going to happen here. Corey Heim is going to fight tooth and nail to the very end, and may even come away with this championship. And that is coming to pass right now. We're almost halfway into the season, and Corey Heim is still your points leader. He is still your points leader. 8 races out of 20 into this season. Corey Heim is a championship threat this year, whether you want to believe it or not. Whether you want to believe he can beat Ty Gibbs in this championship, he is a championship threat, and he's going to prove it to you every week going forward. Ty Gibbs might win the majority of the races for the rest of this season, but Corey Heim's going to be right there as well, and this won't be, mark my words, this will not be the last race Corey Heim wins this year. We're going to have a fun championship battle to watch here, I guarantee you that. Just wait and watch. This is going to happen. Ty Gibbs did come home in second today. After that left rear tire rub worked itself out, he was able to get to the finish and came home in P2. Definitely not where he wanted to be it for today, but still better than it could have been. Because let's be honest, if Chandler Smith has held his line on that restart when Ty Gibbs made contact, he could have very easily turned Ty into the inside wall by the pit lane, and that would have been the end of the day for Ty Gibbs, and that would have had huge championship implications. But that didn't happen. Ty still comes home in second. So the championship battle is a lot tighter than it could have been leaving today, we'll put it that way. Drew Dollar with another strong run came home in third. Never was quite fast enough to keep up with those top 3, but was right there in the top 5 most of the day. Good run for Nick Sanchez in fourth, as well as Thad Moffitt in fifth. He was all the way as low as 15th at one point in this race. Climbs his way back for a top 5 run. A great run today for Thad Moffitt. Rest of your top 10, Kyle Sieg in 6th. Great run for Andy Jankowiak in 7th. Picked up a sponsorship from Phillips 66 gas stations late in the weekend. In fact, I think it was just a couple days ago he picked up that sponsorship. Good looking paint scheme with those Phillips 66 colors. Hopefully that's more of a permanent sponsorship and not just a one race deal. Maybe he can get a couple more races on his schedule with that. That would be very cool to see. Jay Buford brings that 11 for Fast Track home in 8th and on the lead lap. That 11 car for Fast Track seems to slowly be becoming more and more of a faster car week in and week out. We've been seeing that here and there with Mason Mingus, Jade Buford, drivers like that in that 11 car have been putting up fairly decent runs with that car. It's interesting to see a Fast Track car actually having some speed here. It's definitely a breath of fresh air to see a different team in the top 10 on a more regular basis. Sean Corr came home in 9th. Speaking of a new team in the top 10, Empire Racing. It's been a while since we've seen them in the top 10 of an ARCA race. He came home in 9th, and Ryan Huff rounds out the top 10 and 10th. 11th through 20th, Jet Noland in the Nice Motorsports number 50 came home in 11th. Chandler Smith landed in 12th, 2 laps down after he had to pit to repair the damage from the contact with Ty Gibbs. 12th place was where he landed on the day. Tim Richmond in 14th. Brad Smith came home in 16th. Jason Kitzmiller, after his accident, came home in 17th with Jack Wood right behind him in 18th. Final page, 21st through 24th, Nick Igdalski. Sam Mayer came home in 22nd after his radiator issues. He came home in 22nd. Scott Melton and Chris Wright out on lap 13. But that is your results from the General Tire hashtag Anywhere Is Possible 200 Corey Heim interview coming up on Monday, I do believe, is when we will be doing that. So keep an eye out for that. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you go down below and hit that subscribe button for me. Ring that bell for notifications so you know exactly when that Corey Heim interview comes out on Monday. We'll be chatting with him about this big win and the fact that he is able to keep the points lead here, leaving Pocono. Speaking of the points, let's look at those very quickly before we wrap up tonight. Again, Corey Heim is still your points leader now by 4 points over Ty Gibbs, leaving Pocono. Again, not as much as it could have been had that Chandler Smith incident gone a little bit worse for Ty Gibbs, but still not the points lead that I'm sure Ty Gibbs wanted to have leaving this race. Thad Moffitt is up to 3rd after this one. Nick Sanchez 4th. Drew Dollar has moved his way back into the top 5 now. Kyle Sieg there in 6th. D.O. Wilson, Jack Wood, Brad Smith, and Tim Richmond is the rest of your top 10. But that's your point standings following the General Tire hashtag Anywhere Is Possible 200. A long name. That's been the name of this race for a while, though. They really like to promote this hashtag Anywhere Is Possible for this race, which seems to be doing well for them if they can do that for the sponsorship for this race year after year. So that is all we got for you today for Pocono iRacing Tuesday, coming up on Tuesday this week. Should have a driver this week. I know I've said that for the past couple of weeks, and we haven't had one for the past couple of weeks, but should have one this week. I know that probably doesn't hold much weight at this point, but still gonna say we should have one this week. We'll see what happens with that. If not, we'll still do an AI race, but again, should be one this week. So keep an eye out for that. Those are always fun. May have an extra video or two for you this week. I got a couple ideas I'd like to do if I can get the time for them. It's just very hard to do anything extra right now with the way the day job schedule is working for me. So try to get something out for you this week besides the Corey Heim interview on Monday and iRacing Tuesday on Tuesday, but I can't make any promises. So keep an eye out though. So as always, want to thank our Patreon supporter, Regional Manager William Holmes. Thank you as always for your support. It's greatly appreciated. If you would like to be a patron of RNN, the link is down below in the description. Patreon.com/RacingNewsNow. Not required by any means. Definitely appreciated when you want to support RNN in that way. But at that, this has been the ARCA Menard Series Rewind Show. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.